Ethical non-monogamy is not about sex first. It's about communication first. It's about emotional maturity and self-awareness. If you're not willing to talk about uncomfortable emotions, jealousy, insecurity, comparison, fear, and desire, ENM will expose that fast. Welcome to Mr. Health, Mind, Body, and the Bedroom, the podcast where we cut through the silence and get real about men's health. I'm Dr. Mike, certified sex therapist and men's mental health expert. Around here, we're not sugarcoating the tough stuff. From performance anxiety to porn use to stress, depression, and intimacy, this is the place for honest conversations, practical tools, and strategies that actually work. If you ever thought, why am I the only guy dealing with this? You're not. You're in the right place. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Mr. Health podcast, where we talk about mind, body, and the bedroom, without the shame, without the bullshit, and without pretending men don't have feelings. Today's episode, I've been sitting for a while because it's a topic that's everywhere right now, and it's wildly misunderstood. What we're talking about is ethical non-monogamy. What it actually is, what it absolutely is not, and the conversations you need to be having before you open your relationship and it accidentally blows up. This episode is sex positive. It's not anti-monogamy. It's not pro-ENM either. It's pro-honesty and pro-emotional responsibility. So let's get into it. So what actually is ethical non-monogamy? It's often called ENM. It's an umbrella term for relationship structures where people agree that monogamy is not the only option. And that agreement is built on three non-negotiables. Everybody knows what's happening. Everyone consents freely, and everyone is allowed to change their mind. ENM can look like a lot of different things. It can look like open relationships. It could look like polyamory. It could look like swinging. And so there's not a single right version. And here's the part most people miss. Ethical non-monogamy is not about sex first. It's about communication first. It's about emotional maturity and self-awareness. If you're not willing to talk about uncomfortable emotions, jealousy, insecurity, comparison, fear, and desire, ENM will expose that fast. So let's talk about what ENM is not. So this is where I want to slow things down because this is where most people get hurt. ENM is not cheating with better branding, a hall pass you pressure your partner into, a fix for a dead bedroom, a way to avoid emotional intimacy, or proof that you're more evolved than other people. If one partner brings this up and the other feels afraid to say no, afraid of being replaced, afraid that they'll lose the relationship if they don't agree, that's not ethical. That is coercion wrapped in progressive language. And saying yes out of fear will quietly destroy your self-worth. So why does this hit men so hard? Here's the thing I want to say directly to men listening. ENM conversations can stir up a lot of shit internally, and most men don't feel safe admitting that. Performance anxiety, comparison, body insecurity, fear of being replaced, old attachment wounds, the voice that says, am I enough? What if she likes them more? What if I'm not exciting anymore? And a lot of men override the feelings with, I should be cool with this. I don't want to seem insecure. I don't want to be controlling. So let me be really clear. Having boundaries doesn't make you weak. Ignoring them will absolutely break you. So here are the questions that I want you to ask yourself first. Before you open your relationship, before you download an app, before you start fantasizing, you owe yourself honesty. It's important to ask yourself, why do I actually want this? Is it curiosity or avoidance? What am I hoping this will fix? Because if the answer is distance, resentment, or lack of sex, opening the relationship will magnify those issues, not solve them. How do I really handle jealousy? Not how I wish I handled it, how I actually do. Can I tolerate discomfort without shutting down, checking out, or lashing out? And here's the big one. If my partner says no, can I respect that without resentment? I want you to sit with that. Here are some questions I want you to ask each other. If you're considering opening up your relationship, these questions are not optional. First, consent and safety. What does ethical mean to each of us? What are the hard no's versus flexible boundaries? What are our agreements around safer sex? Now, these are the questions around emotional impact. How do we handle jealousy when it shows up? Because it will. What happens if feelings develop? What support do we expect from each other? And now, communication. How often do we check in about this? What gets shared and what stays private? What happens if one of us needs to slow down or pause? And finally, can either of us close the relationship again? What happens if this starts harming our connection? If these conversations feel intense, that doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means you're doing it right. They are intense conversations. These are vulnerable conversations that you need to be having with your partner before you open the relationship. There's this fantasy floating around that ENM means everyone is emotionally detached and chill. That's not how humans work. Feelings happen, attachment happens, triggers surface. ENM is not about avoiding emotions. It's about having the capacity to stay present with them. If you can't sit with discomfort, ENM will push you straight through it. So when is ENM probably not a good idea? ENM may not be a healthy move if you can't talk about sex without defensiveness. There's unresolved betrayal. One partner's already checked out. You're hoping this will make you feel worthy. Or emotional regulation is already a struggle for you. That doesn't mean never. It means not yet. And that not yet can actually be an act of love for your partner and an act of self-love. ENM is not about how many people you could sleep with. It's about how honest you're willing to be with your partner and with yourself. The most powerful thing you can say in these conversations is not yes. It's let's slow down and do this consciously. If this episode stirred something up, curiosity, fear, resistance, desire, that's information. You don't have to decide anything today, but you do owe yourself the truth. Thanks for being here and being present during these difficult questions and conversations. Looking forward to seeing you in the next podcast.
You've been listening to Mr. Health, Mind, Body, in the Bedroom. If today's episode hit home, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an honest conversation about men's health. Share this with a friend who needs it, because the chances are he's struggling in silence. And if you're ready to go deeper, head over to MrHealth.com for courses, tools, and resources to help you build confidence in your mind, your body, and your bedroom. I'm Dr. Mike, reminding you, you're not broken, you're not alone, you're just ready for the truth.